What is good, Crypto Paradise fam? I'm Crypto Amaru. That is Crypto Hitman. We are back with another market analysis type video. Obviously, this past weekend, 4th of July weekend, we had a pretty significant correction. Things are bouncing a bit here, which is good to see. So we'll talk about that crash, why it happened, and what's the outlook for the next weeks and months ahead. We'll talk about some of our favorite memes. Memes are still killing it. One of the only bright spots in the market, as far as I can tell. So we'll talk about a couple memes that we're into, and we'll just sort of see where things go from there. But yeah, we were away, or at least I was, and you look down and oh shit, we just shed another 5% on Bitcoin, and obviously the rest of the alts correcting as well over the weekend. So what are your thoughts on it? Is it Germany FUD, Mt. Gox FUD? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't even think it's really FUD. I think it's, pertinent to what's going on in the market. What I will say is the Bitcoin spot ETF is having positive inflows day after day, something like $200 million of inflows just yesterday. That's why the Bitcoin price is holding these levels, even with Germany rapidly selling off their coins. If you didn't know, Germany had about 50,000 Bitcoin that they've confiscated from criminals, thieves, drug dealers. I do quotations because who really knows? The government can do what they want, and they're going to feed the public the information that they want to provide. Nonetheless, they had 50,000 Bitcoin in their wallet, and in less than a month, so starting mid-June to right now, they have sold 27,000 Bitcoin, with a majority of those happening over the 4th of July weekend, which is a holiday here in America. So while everybody in America was trying to celebrate Independence Day, Germany was dumping thousands of Bitcoin on the market, spooking the market, pushing the price down, and that's where we stand today. So Germany does still have around 22,000 Bitcoin left. Will they continue to sell regardless of price? Are they going to wait for a bounce? Why are they selling at these prices? I don't have those answers, but that's just the numbers. We also do know that Mt. Gox said they were going to be giving out Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash during the month of July. They have already started sending out Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash starting July 5th, but they just sent out a letter to the rest of the creditors saying that the further distribution of Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash will be delayed once again. So a little bit of more shenanigans coming out of Mt. Gox. So downside is there will be more Bitcoin in the future. Bright side is there's no more Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash hitting the market from them anytime soon. It literally, the last sentence says, please be patient for a while, or something along those terms. So interesting development. Nonetheless, I think it's a bright, positive thing that the Bitcoin spot ETF inflows are still positive. The Ethereum spot ETF is not yet approved and getting inflows. I think that could happen this week, definitely in July. That'll be another catalyst for the market. And that's kind of where we stand now. What's your opinion on the price of Bitcoin here, as we have rallied about 9% off the low, sitting here at 58,000. Next overhead resistance is another 1,000 higher at 59,000.
Yeah, I'm glad to see the resilience in terms of Wall Street coming in and essentially buying the dip, which is what has been happening. Inflows, I think, had tapered down, and then this dip happens and you see the inflows coming back. So that's positive that the strong hands are seemingly buying this dip. And the way I look at this is, yes, it's a lot of sell pressure between German government and Mt. Gox, but these are temporary events. Eventually Germany is going to either run out of Bitcoin to sell, or they'll just pause selling until a later date. And then same story with Mt. Gox. It's a finite amount of Bitcoin, 9 billion, I believe, in total USD value. Some has already been sent out. I know Bitcoin Cash has taken a hit as a result of that as well. But nonetheless, these are temporary sort of overhangs that, will end eventually. And so if you're a believer in the asset, if you believe in the 4-year cycle, we're still consistent with the previous cycle in terms of the chart and things of that nature. So if you're a believer, this shouldn't worry you too much. Although I have seen some big accounts on Twitter and YouTube, world's coming to an end. I'm not like that at all. That's not my take. I think it's going to be fine. You mentioned the ETH ETF as probably the immediate next catalyst, and that is likely to happen in July, according to the analysts. And then, I'm reading just today that the Fed, there's people predicting the Fed will cut rates actually 3 times this year, because unemployment is ticking up, bankruptcies are up. You're seeing the U.S. economy sort of weighing further under these high rates. And so it's like, hey, Powell, why not get out in front of this impending sort of, further financial weakness and actually cut rates sooner and do it more times this year? I'm not a believer in 3. I'm a believer in 2 cuts this year, but I am a believer in September, and we're only 2 months away from September. So it's really not, you don't have to wait too long, I don't think, for the market to recover between the ETH ETF, the cutting of the interest rates, and then the Trump winning the election, which is all pretty much very likely to happen at this point, happening in November. So
yeah,
just be a little more patient, and we're going to be fine.
I think the newest bullish catalyst, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but FTX just released a report of the financials. The creditors for FTX, so all the users and investors that are owed capital out of the FTX bankruptcy, they'll be getting $16 billion in stable coins in Q4 of 2024, which lines up with the end of the year, which lines up with the presidential election, the potential cutting of rates, Mt. Gox tokens being done, Germany tokens being done, and the 4-year halving cycle. So those are people who are on FTX centralized exchange in big value, trading altcoins last bull market. Now, how much of that 16 billion finds its way back into the crypto market? I don't know. But unlike Mt. Gox, which is giving away Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, FTX is giving away 16 billion in cash. So if any of that comes back to crypto, I expect a large percentage of it. But if any of it comes back to crypto, that's a net positive inflow for Bitcoin and crypto that essentially has been locked up for the past 2 years.
That's huge. I did not know that. And if you just think about the amount of tokens being sold by the Mt. Gox creditors or being handed back to the Mt. Gox creditor, 9 billion, you're essentially doubling that with the creditors from FTX coming in Q4. That's actually news to me. That's going to be, I think, a huge tailwind for Bitcoin. And by the way, as that news trickles in too, I have not seen news on that, but I hope it gets picked up more widely. You may see people front running that. You probably will. So I think it's fine. I was watching Data Dash yesterday talk about how he thinks the 4-year cycle is done. All this sort of, I mean, he's very good at charting and he's a smart guy, no doubt about it. But, the video was, I thought, overly bearish, and that it didn't take into account any catalysts. It wasn't talking about the things that we're talking about here. It was just, look at the chart, it's going down. Bitcoin's, much higher market cap, it's harder to pump, and that's all true. But this cycle's not over. It's, some people are acting like it's over, and that's it. But it's really, if Germany wasn't selling these Bitcoins, we'd probably be at 65.
Right
now, Bitcoin. So it's a specific event that's happening that's causing this market weakness. Once it's over, I think we start pumping again.
Well, I think you mentioned a lot of the KOLs and the influencers. They get their followers and they get their views based off of, clickbaity stuff. We all hate mainstream media and we hate the financial system and the government, but yet, people in this space are doing the same thing. You're trying to get clickbait, you're trying to get views. A lot of these individuals, on a red day, they're going to panic and tell you need to sell everything, and then the next day they're going to tell you, oh, now's the time to buy the dip on alts, we're going to the moon. So are they actually trading their portfolio like that? I hope not, because they'll probably not have a very good success rate. But it's kind of a, what have you done for me lately? They hope you forget about the wrong predictions because they're just pumping out new predictions each and every day. And for those who are saying the 4-year Bitcoin cycle is over, then that's fine, cool. If the 4-year Bitcoin cycle is maybe over, but then how do you account for all the positive catalysts that we're talking about, all the Bitcoin spot inflows? So you think that the first time in history, institutions are buying the exact top and us retailers are benefiting by selling here, dumping on them after all these years of waiting for a spot ETF inflow? I think the answer is no, because I can tell you it takes a long time to get AUM into these products. That's why even on this red day, we're seeing new inflows coming in, because there's in-house pension funds and whatever that are just now getting approval to start allocating to the Bitcoin spot ETFs. Now we have people on CNBC saying that people's portfolios should have 2 to 5% of Bitcoin in that. How long does it take before people actually apply that to their portfolio? Probably another 6 months, probably another year before they do that. And that ultimately will be the blow off top, in my opinion. I think there's too many potential bullish catalysts for Bitcoin and crypto for us to say big 4-year cycle's over, the top's already in here at 73,000, and we're going back into a multi-year bear market, or Bitcoin's just simply going to become irrelevant. I don't see how that's possible. And we got the CEO of Dell talking about it. We have companies adding it to their balance sheet as a hedge instead of holding fiat currency. And again, we have hyperinflation of fiat currencies going on. That, by just the nature of being, provides any real asset or any other investable asset better value, a price appreciation in comparison to that fiat currency, because the inflation is just so high.
Yeah, I think it's good to point out the good, the bad, the ugly, try to provide a full picture. I mean, we're not sitting here saying Bitcoin's going to be at 100K tomorrow, but at the same time, I think we at Crypto Paradise are still on board the 4-year cycle, and we just had the halving 2 months ago. So it's not altogether too different from the last cycle, 2020, where Bitcoin was going sideways for a few months after that halving, and then things picked up towards the end of that year. So to me, yes, market weakness, Germany, Mt. Gox FUD, other things, but all these catalysts are coming. But what's cool too is there's still a few bright spots in the market, namely on the meme side of things. And yes, I mean, maybe 2-3 months ago, things were going even crazier. But still, I mean, you look at some of these memes, the strong ones, strong community, strong narratives, they're popping up, and some of the established ones are popping off and still pumping even in this uncertain market. So that's a big bright spot for us. We've been in a number of memes this past few months. Some have done very, very well, some less well. And we can talk a bit how to manage risk. But what are some of the memes that you've been liking these past few weeks here during this bearish phase of the market?
Well, I mean, one that we talked about here early on Crypto Paradise, I believe it was sub $1 million market cap when we first talked about it, and we've been doing updates, giving buy the dip opportunities, and even giving profit taking levels is a Kaiken. So Kai in this sell-off is up, I believe, 30 or 40%, while Bitcoin and Ethereum were dumping during the 4th of July sell-off. So in my opinion, when you find assets that either hold or go higher when the big boys are dipping, those are assets you want to be long for the turnaround. If you believe the turnaround is soon, those are the ones that will rip the hardest. The Wyckoff method, which is something that we talk about in my trading group, says buy the strong assets in the strong sectors when the market is down. So when everybody else is scared and there's blood in the streets, you should be buying. But what are you buying? You can't just buy everything. You need to buy the strongest assets in the strongest sectors. And then when the overall market turns around, they're going to be big beneficiaries. So Kaiken is one of those that did that. We're talking with a few other meme coins that hopefully we can come public on here and do some videos with them. Maybe you're gonna mention a couple of them, so I won't steal your thunder there as well. And then of course my blue chip is still Floki, still have it staked, it's still holding its lows here, its previous lows, so it has a higher low. That's what you want to see, producing 17% APR, and they continue to burn their tokens. I think 62% of their total supply has already been burnt, and they have a dashboard that shows you every day how many tokens are being burnt based on the utilization of their products. So that's another one that I think you should add to the portfolio if you're looking for more of a large cap play, but you're still a degenerate. I think it has upside potential while producing some passive income.
I did not know that about Floki. They're really on another level when it comes to memes. I think all memes should ultimately aspire to get to that level of having token utility, income coming in, token burns, essentially distributions, weekly or monthly distributions, what have you. So that's amazing to hear. Kaiken, to me, what you want to do in these downturns, because a lot of memes are going to suffer, right? But you want to bail on the ones that I think crash and the volume dries up and the sentiment goes to shit in the chat. And at that point, you can probably bail. You can't hold on to these things forever. That's not what memes are meant to do. So bail on the ones that just completely crash back to like a super low price, some of you bought in at or whatever. And if you're seeing the sentiment and the volume dry up, that's usually a sign that it's probably not going to come back. It's very hard, I think, in the meme sector when there isn't utility behind it to regain momentum and price appreciation and volumes once it's really bottomed out and cratered out. Very hard to do. I'm sure there's examples of it happening, but it's hard. So nothing wrong with bailing on the losers during these downtrends. But then something like Kaiken, I was amazed. The market's crashing. Everything in my portfolio is down, and Kai's like pumping back to like 10 million, which is it was sort of unbelievable to see. And it shows me the strength of that narrative, that community, everything they've been doing, on the dev side and the team side. They formed an LLC, publicized that. They've been doing a bunch of additional content with influencers. Twitter Spaces continue. The community's still active as hell. So that one was a real bright spot, and I think due for a significant pump here, probably past its previous all-time high, which I think around 16 million, sitting at 10 million now. Volumes are still high, and to me, with the market recovering here, is definitely a candidate to go much higher. So shout out to Kaiken. That one's killing. I'm glad I've held all my Kai tokens. Another one that just came to our attention last weekend, 4th of July weekend, is a new one on ETH called MELLOW. This is part of the Matt Fury character series, of which Brett is a part of which Pepe is a part of, and there's a number of others as well. So this MELLOW is actually a community takeover, which, if you guys don't know, that's what happens when the guy who initially created the token contract and maybe seeded liquidity, he has sold out and is not active anymore. But the rest of the holders are able to take over at that point. You know, with memes, you don't really need a true dev that's like working every day and building stuff, because there's nothing to build really. So dev is an interesting word to use, you know, in any event. But dev sold out, community takeover. But what mattered to me was who took over. So the guy who took over, him and his team, his name's Phil. I've known him for many, many years. Actually, an early investor in Ferrum. We've worked together on incubated projects together in the past. This guy's an absolute beast. He works his ass off. He's a crypto OG. He's not some kid. He's got a lot of money in the bank. So for him, you know, I don't think he's interested in, you know, pumping it up to 1 million and selling his bags to make 20K. Like this is someone who is going to be, you know, he's going to have to make significant money for it to make a difference in his life. So that I really like. Strong-handed guy, strong-handed team. The other thing that I like about it is the narrative. These Matt Fury characters are absolutely crushing it right now. There's one, in fact, I think called Matt. They just called it Matt, and that one's exploded. Obviously, Brett on base, you know, huge success story. Pepe, we all know what happened with Pepe. So these Matt Fury characters are really in the trend right now, and that's what you want to see. In fact, they've actually given 5% of the supply to Matt Fury himself, who is holding strong. So that's super cool to see that as well. Team is great, like I mentioned. They're just getting started. I mean, it's, you know, I think I made a video about it, short video about it, came out today, was at like 500K market cap, and now it's at 1 million. There's only about 400 holders. And what you see with these early memes is, you know, when it's active, the community's rating tweets, the narrative is on point, the team is working with the influencers, doing all the right things, trending, so on and so forth. You see this grind upwards. As more people buy in, the price inevitably is going higher. Of course, you're having Jeets sell out. They're happy with their small gains. They sell out. Opportunity for someone else to buy in. But it's at sub 400 holders, around 1 million market cap right now. The chart is looking great. It's a high risk play, obviously. The early memes are higher risk by nature. They are absolutely high risk by nature. But what gives me confidence is knowing the team, knowing the guy who's leading the charge right now. He's had a tracker of success in the space. He's brought other tokens, you know, 200x, 300x. So this guy knows what he's doing, has a lot of connections. I have a lot of confidence in it. We'll see where it goes. High risk. With those, you know, you often want to ape a lesser amount. You can't be dumping 10 ETH into something with only 100K in liquidity, right? You start small, monitor, see where it goes. Okay, progressing, going higher. Maybe you're adding more. Maybe you're selling the rips, buying dips, whatever. But it is a higher risk play. MELLOW, check that out on ETH.
Yeah, so I think we gave a high risk one for today's show. That would be MELLOW. Then we got kind of a mid risk, $10 million market cap, good liquidity in Kaiken. And then we kind of have a blue chip in Floki there as well. Another one that we might talk about in the future, depending on how things go, is called Peaches. This is a CTO. Originally was Peaches designed after Dave Portnoy's dog. Now they're going to a investment DAO strategy with the same community behind it, same holder base, and they're sitting about a 1.4 million market cap, but they have $400,000 in locked liquidity. They have a Bitmart listing, and they have $100,000 to create investments and collaborations with other meme coins to create an investment DAO, of which, when profits are taken, 70% is paid back to the token holders, and 30% will be used for Peach buybacks and burns. So that, hopefully, if it plays out well, we'll see how they allocate their investment DAO, what kind of collaborations they do. But if they get some good collaborations, good investments, and they turn profits on those meme coins, then that is where the momentum can start, and a $1.4 million market cap could rip pretty quickly. Same with the likes of MELLOW. So that's kind of the four memes. I guess we'll leave it at that for the show. We've kind of done a market overview for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Is there any other thing you kind of wanted to touch base on before we wrap it up?
No, but a little birdie tells me that Peaches, which I really like that narrative, by the way, investment DAO, that's very clever and unique. A little birdie tells me that perhaps Peaches and Kai may collaborate, and you may see some buys coming in, some investment into Kai. We'll see if that does come to fruition there. But great to see the memes collaborating. Two strong ones, I think. Kai Ken and Peaches, obviously Mellow Man and Floki as well. So yeah, you're gonna want to like, subscribe, share. We got a lot of more meme alpha coming within the days and weeks ahead. We want to hear from you guys too. Any good memes that you're in, shill it to us, pitch it to us in the comments. We want to hear from you guys. Strong narrative, strong communities. Diamond hands, good low market caps as well. We like. So don't be afraid to shill, and we want to hear from you guys.
Yep, I think that'll do it for today. Make sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and we'll see you guys on the beach.